Hi there, welcome to the SKS Bailey Group budget video. This is the first time we've done one of these, so you need to excuse me if I fall over my words a bit. Those of you who are regular viewers to my videos know that I fall over my words a lot, but we'll see if we can get through this one without falling over these words. Again, for regular viewers, you'll note that we've got Benny and we've got Sean behind me, our two little sponsors here, who are looking forward to getting out of lockdown, aren't we all? Well, wowee, what a budget, hey? What a budget. For those of you that know me well, you'll know that I am from the northeast of England, and the north of England got a massive shout out today. The Infrastructure Bank in Leeds, a brand new bank that's opening up with the government backing. The Treasury's Northern Hub is going to be in Darlington, the home of the steam train, of course. And lo and behold, the massive investment in Teesside through a new free port in Teesport, all backing, or those, certainly the last two, backing Ben Houchin, the Conservative Mayor of Teesside, who is going for re-election at the moment, and he's doing a fantastic job of keeping Teesside in the forefront of everything that happens. So Rishi Sunak, again, those that you don't know, he's a Northern MP, comes from Richmond by Scotch Corner, and he started off his speech today by saying the government have spent a massive £280 billion so far on support. That equates to something like £4,500 per person in the country. They're the sort of numbers that we're talking about. Massive amounts of money. Government borrowing in the next year will be somewhere like £400 billion. These numbers are just unbelievable. They're massive. And then he went on to talk about unemployment and what the forecast was. The forecast for unemployment before all his measures last year was about 11%. After his measures now, they reckon it'll be about 6.5%, which is still a lot more than it has been in the past. Over 1.5 million more, I think, than it has been in the past. And to be perfectly frank, I think it may well increase over the next 3 or 4 months as businesses start to open and demand, and we see what demand actually hits. There are some big headlines in the budget today. Obviously, one of the massive ones that affects lots and lots of people, the furlough scheme has been extended to September. Slightly changed. Those of you who remember who watched our furlough videos last year, you all know the rules. 80% is paid of the wages are paid to the staff, and under the furlough that's running at the moment, the national insurance for the employers and the pension for the employers is paid by the employer, obviously still, so there's no grant for that piece, just the wages piece. Well, what's going to happen is that the employer will have to contribute 10% of the wages in July and 20% in August and September, and then the scheme will end at that point. So again, they're spending loads and loads of money on this. It's a really good scheme and it works, keeps people in jobs. The self-employed scheme, that's been slightly tweaked. So that goes in quarters. So the next payment will be February, March and April. And that will be 3 months of profits at 80%. The next payment, May, June and July, will again be the same, 3 months of profits at 80%. However, they've actually put a criteria in now in relation to your turnover. So if your turnover has gone down by more than 30%, then you will get the full 80% of the grant. If your turnover has not gone down by more than 30%, then you will only get 30% of the grant. So there are some pieces in there that are slightly changed, and you've got to be careful about those. Again, for those new self-employed people who didn't have chance to claim previously, then as long as they filed a tax return for the last period that for the end of February, as long as they filed a tax return, then they will be eligible to claim. And so you've got to bear that in mind. Those of you that watch our videos, just remember, I believe I predicted that. I believe I predicted that you'd have to have your tax return in to be able to claim next if you didn't have a claim previously. And that's exactly what's happened. So again, just to reiterate this point, these are the legislation has not been passed yet. They're all got to be approved by Parliament, all of these measures. So these may get tweaked on the way through. I doubt it. But please, 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 as I always say when you watch these videos, please look at the up-to-date legislation. Up-to-date advice is more important. If you're looking at this video more than a month old, then please make sure that the advice is still there and that these measures are being passed by Parliament. The universal credit payment will stay at the increased amount of £20 a week for 6 months. In other words, to the end of September. So everything, if you can see now, everything is starting to link into the end of September. The working tax credit, people. So those of you that receive working tax credits, you'll receive a one-off payment of £500. And what they're saying there is that again, they're giving you an amount up until the end of September, £500, as I say. The minimum wage for all those of you that employ people, that will go to £8.91 from April. So that's really important. You've got to remember to do that on your on your employees' wages. And then all the other training pieces that fall in. So to get people back into work, things like Restart, Kickstart, and all the lifetime skills piece, all those have been extended. All those are having more money put into them. New apprentices, so where you take on an apprentice of any age. So an apprentice in my eyes, and I'm a bit older than some of you watching this clearly, an apprenticeship in my eyes is for the guy leaving school. That isn't the way it works nowadays. So anyone can be an apprentice at any age, and if you take on a new apprentice, then you will be paid, then as an employer you will be paid £3,000 for that. Rishi then went on to talk about opening up the economy. And what the grants were going to be for that. So for shops, when the shops open, they'll be able to apply for grants up to £6,000. For those in non-essential businesses, and he mentioned specifically gyms here, the grants will be up to £18,000. Again, based on turnover and based on usage, as far as I'm aware. Again, legislation hasn't been released, but that's what we believe. So again, you just need to look at that and think about that sensibly. He then talked about the money they were going to put into sport and culture and arts, and that was about 700 million. Again, these figures are mind-blowing, absolutely mind-blowing. There's going to be a new loan that comes out. It's called a recovery loan, and it's going to help you get through this part of the recovery. And that loan will be for 25,000 up to 10 million, 80% guarantee on that. So by the government. So very much the same as the C-bills loan, not the bounce back loan, but the C-bills loan, where that's guaranteed by the government to a percentage. So look out for things on that. Again, please don't ring me about this in the morning. There's nothing out about it yet. It was an announcement in the budget. We will get more information, and when we do, we will let you know. But yes, there is that new recovery loan. Business rates holiday, so that you will not have been paying business rates from March last year until now. Well, he's extended that until June, so that's a really good thing. And then for the next 9 months, it's getting reduced further, but not 100% reduction. It'll be reduced further, and I believe that amount is 20%. Again, legislation will come out and it will say what that is. For all my hospitality friends out there, and all our clients who own pubs, restaurants, and all those other hospitality pieces, you asked for me to do some of my silent thinking with Rishi on the way through to try and get your 5% VAT extended. And what's he done? He's extended it until, let's all have a guess at the date, shall we? You're correct. End of September. Everything's going to the end of September. So the 5% VAT is in until the end of September. Then there will be 12.5% VAT until April, and then it will go up from April back to 20%. Again, all of these measures are variable, so if the economy doesn't pick up as much, or if there's another spike or something like that, then they could well extend them even further. My property friends out there will be edging to know about stamp duty. Well, stamp duty, very well known, very widely leaked piece. The stamp duty holiday up to 500,000 is going to get extended until the end of June, and after June until a date in the future, it will be extended at £250,000. So it drops to 250 until a date in the future. Shall we have a guess at that date in the future? Yes, you're right. End of September. There you go again. You see the end of September comes in again. Then there's a big mortgage piece coming in. The government will guarantee a 5% deposit for new first-time buyers to get them on the housing ladder. Again, that will be complicated, and we will need to understand the pieces around that one. Again, he then went through some of the other numbers. The government is going to have paid out £407 billion on the coronavirus by the time that September comes. This is what they think. Massive amounts of money. And, at some point, and I'm coming on to this bit in the middle, the bad news, at some point we're going to have to pay for it. They reckon that public debt will be 97% of GDP by 2023. What does that mean? What do those numbers mean? Well, if I'm in a shop and I'm selling something for £1, then the public debt will be 97 pence of that pound. It's amazing, the numbers that are around here. So let's have a look at the bad news, shall we? The bad news, the tax rises. Although, to be fair, there wasn't a lot in here really. So let's just zip through these. There's no increase in income tax rates, VAT rates, or national insurance rates. Okay, no increases. They're going to freeze personal allowances after next year. So from April the 5th, your personal allowance, the amount you can receive tax-free, will go up to £12,570. From April 21, so 4 weeks' time, the amount you can receive before you pay top rate tax, £50,270. They will then be frozen and will not move until April 2026. So April 2026. That's quite a long time, 4 years. What does that mean? Well, what that means is that as your wages or as your profits increase in your sole trader or in your job that you have, then your tax rate could increase, because you will drip over those allowances, and that's what they're trying to do there. All the other allowances that he mentioned, so inheritance tax, the 325,000 allowance for inheritance tax, the pension lifetime allowance, the capital gains tax allowance, the VAT registration limit, all those will stay in until 2026. This is one of the reasons why I never try and predict what's in the budget. Everyone was predicting things going up and down. Everyone was predicting big tax rises. And to be fair, not a lot. There's not a lot in this in relation to tax rises. Corporation tax. So this is tax that companies pay. That tax rate, again, widely publicised beforehand, or leaked, as they say. That will go to 25%. But this won't happen until 2023. And in that year, the same year it goes up to 25%, what will happen will be that there will be a new small companies rate at £50,000. So if your profit is less than £50,000, then your rate of tax will be 19%, as it is now, and it will continue. Between 50 and 250, it will go up gradually in that range. And when it gets to 250,000, then it'll be 25%. Again, those of you that are a bit older than some of those that are my age will know, we used to have this in the old days. I think it was 300 grand was the limit, and the tax rate was 30% on that amount over that. So it's bringing back an old friend, if you like. So and us accountants just love to do these little calculations between 50,000 and 250,000 because they are a nightmare to calculate. He also had a little throwaway comment on some losses. So if you make losses ordinarily, you can only carry that loss back 1 year, or you can carry it forward to offset against the same trade. What he said now is that you can actually carry losses back up to £2 million for 3 years. And so what does that mean? That means if you make a loss, you can take that loss back into when you were making a profit. reduce your profit and therefore get a tax refund. So that's quite a good little thing. That's quite a good thing there. I suppose the big thing that he mentioned, apart from everything about the northeast and everything coming to Darlington or coming to Teesside, obviously, was the fact that there's going to be a new, as he called it, a super deduction for your tax. Now, what does that mean? Well, this is all around business investment. So when you buy a machine, when you buy a new van, what actually happens? Well, we claim capital allowances on that. And what does that mean? That means it reduces your profit by the value of that van. So if your van costs £10,000, you reduce your profit by £10,000 in the year you buy it, and therefore you get a tax relief. Well, he said that they're not going to do that in future. What's going to happen for the next 2 years is that you'll be able to deduct 130% of that cost. And what he actually said was that in his example, if you bought a £10 million machine, then you would get £13 million of benefit. Okay, so that's a really good little thing, that. And obviously what they're trying to do is make people buy more vans, more computers, more machines, because that creates jobs, and that's what they want to do. Some of the things that clearly I'm not interested in, the alcohol duty is fixed. Obviously, I won't be at the pub on April the 12th when they open, will I? Clearly, I'll be working doing your tax returns. But some of my friends will be at the pub, obviously, when they open. And they'll be interested to know that those duties on alcohol, cigarettes, cigars have all been frozen. Fuel duty is frozen as well. If you remember that, they used to put up the tax on fuel every year. Well, that's been frozen again, so that won't happen either. There's a £5,000 software grant under a scheme called Help to Grow, and obviously that will be available to small businesses. Please don't ring me about it in the morning. We don't know about it. More details will be released, and when we know more, we will let you know. There are changes to make R&D tax, that's research and development tax, the relief you can claim for doing research and development. There are changes to that to make that tax relief better. And then the final things that he was talking about was the northeast of England and how they were going to help Teesside, Darlington and Leeds especially, with the new infrastructure bank, as they're calling it. They were going to put £12 billion into this to pay for infrastructure around the place. Darlington is going to be the new northern home of the Treasury, and Teesside is going to have a special Tees port to go with 7 other areas in the country. And what that will mean is lower rates, lower costs in that area, reductions of taxes in that area, VAT in that area, which will mean that all jobs around the area will obviously get a benefit, and that's what they're trying to do. So there's a quick run through the budget for you. Obviously, if we have your email address, obviously you'll be getting our budget leaflet coming out. We wanted to get this out to you as soon as we could, so that you can play it to your heart's content whilst we're still in lockdown. And obviously lockdown will end in the next 5 weeks, I think it is. Not that I'm counting. I actually think it's about 37 days, and I'll be sat outside in a beer garden on that day doing some tax returns, as I've said earlier. So thanks very much for watching. Any questions, obviously email them in to us. You will all have your local email addresses. There will be more things coming out about these over the next couple of weeks, especially the important things, the business investment scheme, this super deduction. We'll be getting something out to you on that. Corporation tax 2023, we'll be getting things out to you on that as well. So give us a chance to digest it all, and then we can answer all your questions on it. But you'll be getting flyers and emails about it over the next couple of weeks anyway. And then we'll be doing some more things in the future to explain things further. Okay, that's all I've got time for today. Thanks very much indeed. Cheers, bye.